Are you crazy?
She doesn't mean that.
No, that is...
At work, the thrill of a successful rocket launch is still fresh in my mind. I celebrated with Lorenzo, my colleague. Evan, our boss, watched from a distance, his aloofness a stark contrast to the camaraderie we shared. My name is Shelby, and this is my love story. As I tucked Grace into bed, I continued the tale of the Christmas prince. One lucky child gets to make a wish, I whispered. Imagine the power of that, Grace. Her eyes, filled with longing, reflected her wish for a star to be the Christmas queen. I knew she was missing her dad, and I hoped the magic of the legend could bring her comfort. I couldn't believe my ears. Evan, the guy who was supposed to be a visionary, wanted us to work Christmas Eve and half of Christmas Day. Did he even have a family, a heart? I was furious. I quit, I blurted out, my voice echoing in the silent office. Just then, Grace, my daughter, burst out of my office, her eyes wide with wonder. Mom, Mr. Evan has a birthmark on his hand just like the Christmas prince, she exclaimed. I nearly choked. Later that night, I pondered my next move. I couldn't believe I was jobless, especially during the holiday season. I met up with my friends, venting my frustration. You should blackmail him, one of them suggested. A mischievous glint in her eye. The idea was crazy, but desperate times called for desperate measures. I approached Evan, a mixture of fear and determination in my voice. If you agree to be the Christmas prince for Grace, I'll reconsider quitting. Evan, initially taken aback, reluctantly agreed. We began planning the perfect Christmas surprise, a task that was both exciting and daunting. Grace's wish list was out of control. A snowman that came to life, a pony in her closet. We weren't sure where to start. And then, I took Evan shopping for a makeover to help him embrace his inner Christmas prince. He was not a happy camper. I managed to talk Grace down from her 12 wishes to a more manageable 8. Her first wish was for a Christmas sleepover. I could already see the panic in Evan's eyes. He'd never been around kids, let alone a group of them overnight. As he tried to tell the kids a bedtime story, it was clear he was out of his element. His voice was monotone, and the story was dry and boring. But to my surprise, the kids found him hilarious. Grace even drew him a picture, a heartwarming gesture that softened his demeanor. Then, she changed her wish. Instead of a sleepover, she wanted Evan to take me on a date. I was both flattered and terrified. Evan, on the other hand, seemed completely lost. Our date was awkward, to say the least. He asked me a series of bizarre questions, like, do you eat carrots often? Frustrated, he blurted out, why does Grace need a special Christmas anyway? I was stunned. Her father died, I replied, my voice barely a whisper. Something shifted in Evan after that. He realized the depth of Grace's longing for a connection, a sense of family. When he took Grace out for tea, another wish of hers, he was surprisingly gentle and genuinely seemed to enjoy her company. As I watched them together, a strange feeling washed over me. I was happy for Grace, but I couldn't shake the fear that she might grow too attached to Evan. What would happen when the holiday season ended, and he was gone? At work, Evan and I had a long night after some issues with the satellite. Later we laid on the rooftop, the cool night air nipping at our skin. The stars twinkled above us. I told him about the single mothers group I'd started after my husband passed. It had been a lifeline, a way to connect with others. You're amazing, he said, his eyes filled with admiration. You're so good at your job, too. His words made my heart flutter. Evan's soft side was starting to show. I could see him making an effort to change. He brought in homemade cookies and announced that we wouldn't have to work on Christmas. It was a generous gesture. Later that night, Evan surprised Grace with a portable piano, and an elf story to go with it. It wasn't the grand piano she'd wished for, but his thoughtfulness made it truly special. As Grace drifted off to sleep, I stayed up to talk to Evan. He asked about my husband, and I found myself opening up. He was solid and dependable, I said, my voice barely a whisper. His death felt like a kind of abandonment. Then Evan fulfilled the rest of Grace's wishes, leaving only the Christmas dance, the final wish. As we spent quality time together, Evan confessed that this was the best Christmas he'd ever had. It was heartwarming to know that I had played a part in bringing him joy. It's the night of the Christmas dance, and Evan had a vital board meeting scheduled at the same time. It was a disaster. I'd created this mess, and now Grace was heartbroken, but she believed he would show up as he promised. I called Evan, my heart pounding with excitement and relief. I confessed my feelings, pouring out my heart. He responded with equal passion, promising to make the night unforgettable. And he did. A horse-drawn carriage arrived at the dance, and out stepped Evan, dressed as the Christmas prince. Grace's eyes lit up with joy. As we rode off into the night, I couldn't help but smile. This Christmas, magic was truly in the air. And as Evan gave me a crown on my head, sealing our fairy tale with a kiss, I knew our happily ever after had just begun.